It has been revealed today from a credible source in Ben Jacobs that Manchester United are now in talks to sign a midfielder on loan that had previously played in the Premier League and now plays in Europe. And look, I guess a midfield signing, even if it's a loan, even if it's not the most exciting name, is better than nothing. Or is it? Because there's some leaks coming out about who those midfielders are that Manchester United are looking at bringing in on loan. But are they what Manchester United need? What's frustrating is Manchester City have gone and signed Mark Gay, they've gone and signed Semenyo, and they've done some amazing business. I know we can't get Elliot Anderson right now, but sometimes I think if we had Manchester City's owners, could we have signed a really good midfielder for 50 million? I just feel like if Man City are in the position we are right now and really need a midfielder, they'd probably put a bid for like Locatelli or someone. I'm not saying that we should go for Locatelli, but you know what I mean. Gay's gone to Man City, he'll be played tomorrow, but Gay I don't think will play. He'll need to do his medical and everything before that. We've got news coming in on a Casemiro clause in his contract, which means he could stay next season and be on those ridiculous wages. So I feel like we won't play him every game. Updates coming in on the new manager front. Glasner leaving Crystal Palace. What does that mean? Are United now put off Glasner? Because, he's not been doing great lately. And more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, update, and roundup show, where we round up all the latest Manchester United news around transfers, managers, and more in 10 minutes for you guys. If you do enjoy today's content, feel free to hit that like button. You're welcome to subscribe if you're new. Let's dive into it. Let's rant about City. Mark Gay to City, here we go. Official proposal accepted by Palace. Understand fee to be 20 million. Look, we're never going to get Mark Gay. We don't necessarily need Mark Gay, so I'm not too bothered in that sense. What's just really annoying me is City is 6 points off first, and they go and get Gay and Semenyo to try and catch Arsenal this title race. We're a couple points of Champions League football, and we're sitting there doing nothing when we know we have 65 million available for Semenyo. Surely there's a somewhat decent midfielder, whether you look at Manu Kone of Roma. I just feel like I don't want us to bring in the wrong player, but I feel like if you really pushed and you've got 65 million to spend, you could bring in a good level player. I feel like if Manchester City were in our position, they'd have found a decent midfielder by now. And United are now saying, we might look at the loan market. And the players that will be linked to on loan, I don't think are the best options. It's just frustrating how good City move. City have spent 500 million in the last year. They don't make up this PSR excuse. We know that they've got 115 charges and they've still not been charged for any of those. But it's like there's a reason City have been the best team in the world the last 10 years, and that is because of their ambition. They spend. Is it fair? Is it annoying? Do you know what I mean? But they spend, they have ambition, and that is why we're behind them, because in January, they don't make excuses and they pop out 85 million despite spending like 200 million last January. Whereas we do sweet nothing and say the right targets aren't available, but City make the right targets available sometimes. Other clubs do. Just frustrating, but we obviously play those lot tomorrow. I don't think we're going to win. I think their attack is nuts. I think they've looked really good. I think Semenyo is guaranteed he's going to score against us, and Carrick doesn't have a very good clean sheet record in his managerial career. But what makes me a lot happier is Mbeumo and Ahmad are set to return. And Mbeumo and Ahmad are set to return to the Manchester United squad tomorrow against City. After 32 days since AFCON, both were trained this week. I assume one of them will start. I don't know if both of them will start. I know they've been out for 32 days, but it's not like they've not been playing football. They've been playing football. They're relatively fit. I think they both arguably come back in the starting 11 for me. Who's in your starting 11? I'm actually intrigued to know who's your starting 11 tomorrow, but I'd want Mbeumo left wing, Ahmad right wing, Sesko up top, give Cunha a rest, Bruno in the 10, Main on Casemiro behind, and then I would have to go Delo right back, probably Dorgu left back, Leacher in heaven as the centre backs. Maguire won't be ready. I think Yoro's been a little bit wobbly, but I think Yoro's been alright the last few games. I think Yoro's a mint player. I think he's just lacking confidence. But look, I don't think we win tomorrow. I think we probably lose. I think City are serious. They've shown that in January. They're in the mood. But their defence is gettable. That's why they've gone out and gone for Mark Gay, even though Kusanov's been great and Lenny's been great. They're gettable. Caracoli have beaten them in the past. I know we lost 3-0 to them under Amorim a couple months ago. I'm worried, I'm nervous, but Ahmad and Mbeumo are back, so I'm less nervous. So let's dive into this midfield news and talk about everything we know. Manchester United have held talks with a midfielder in the last 24 hours for a loan until the end of the season. He has Premier League experience and is currently playing outside of England. It was then further said by Ben Jacobs, he's a former Prem player that plays outside of England, that plays in Europe. It's not Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves plays in Saudi. Saudi's not in Europe. So everyone's thinking, who's this midfielder? I mean, some people are saying Pogba, McTominay. It's not them. There's 3 players that it could apparently be. Okay, and they're not revealing which one. But this is the first, McKennie. Now, I don't think it's McKennie, but let's talk about him. 27-year-old Juventus midfielder Weston McKennie has received initial approaches from 2 Premier League clubs. There's also interest from Atletico Madrid. This is talking about a permanent deal with McKennie. McKennie has been very good for Juventus this season, but he's barely played centre mid. He's been more inverted on the wing or fullback inverting into midfield. He's not necessarily been an out-and-out centre mid. He has been very good. His output's been very good. I have to say, he's been much better under Spalletti at Juventus, but I don't think he's what we need. Like, I actually don't mind Weston McKennie as a player, but he's definitely not playing centre mid, and he's definitely not the profile that Man United need, which brings you to the next option. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think it's Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and that concerns me because talk to any AC Milan fan about Ruben Loftus-Cheek and they want him gone. AC Milan midfielder Ruben Loftus-Cheek could be set to follow in the footsteps of former Premier League teammate Conor Gallagher by returning to the Prem. Team talks can reveal that Loftus-Cheek has been offered to a number of English clubs on loan. Milan are absolutely desperate to get rid of Loftus-Cheek. They don't really like him. I think, considering how big and strong and tall he is, he's not winning many duels in the midfield. He's struggling in the Italian league midfield at winning duels. He's going to struggle in the Premier League. He hasn't started as many games recently. He's started a few games, and he's playing a decent amount of minutes, but he's definitely one of the weaker players at AC Milan. I know I'm begging, I'm crying out for a midfielder, but then I want the midfielder that we bring in to actually be someone I feel like will improve us. And I don't know if Loftus-Cheek is that. Like, I could be wrong, but I think he's just a very underwhelming option. I'm not expecting something special, but I think we could do better than Loftus-Cheek. Which brings us to the third option in Dennis Zakaria, who was one of those players I completely forgot played for Chelsea. We used to be linked to this guy a lot back in the day, and I always was a fan of him, but he never quite lived up to the hype and the expectation. But I don't know. There's a small part of me that actually has always quite liked Dennis Zakaria and thinks there is a player there. He's obviously playing a bit less this season. He's had some injury issues, but he is captain of Monaco, and I think there's a solid player in Dennis Zakaria. I think out of the 3, he's my favourite option, but any of them exactly what we need, any of them the right profile, probably not. Let me know out of those 3 options which one you like the most. Continue on to other midfield news. Casemiro can trigger an extra year in his Manchester United contract by starting a certain amount of games. The figure is believed to be 35, so he'd have to start every single game from now to the end of the season to do that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could happen. I think Michael Carrick will be told to not start Casemiro last game of the season because I don't think United like the wages he's on, and Casemiro will just trigger the contract because he's not going to get the wages we give him elsewhere. Especially if we get Champions League football, those wages will go up by 20%. It's unexpected to be triggered, but if we do start Carrick in every game, if Carrick does start Casemiro in every game between now and the end of the season, we may have to pay Casemiro for another year extension in his contract. I'm not completely against Casemiro staying if he cut his wages, but if he's not going to cut his wages, we need better. Because I don't mind Casemiro as a bench option, but you can't have someone on nearly 300 grand a week as a bench option. Apparently, talking of 300 grand a week, that's how much City have offered Gay, which is why he's gone to City. I don't know if that's true. I'm waiting for further confirmation on that. And last but not least, news on the new manager situation. This was said by Pete Hall of iPaper Sport. Oliver Glasner's departure from Crystal Palace has not improved his prospects of becoming Manchester United manager, with De Zerbi, Tuchel currently leading picks. De Zerbi and Tuchel seem to be leading picks. I think it would be De Zerbi or McKenna. I don't see Tuchel wanting to come to us. I don't see Ancelotti wanting to come to us. I don't see Enrique, as great as that would be, wanting to come to us. I think it's a mix between De Zerbi and McKenna. If Carrick does really well, they may transition to McKenna. If Carrick doesn't do well, I think they go with someone like a De Zerbi. I think they will try for Tuchel. I think they will try for Ancelotti. But I think they will probably go for someone like De Zerbi or McKenna. I think we'll see what happens with Tuchel. I don't want them to go for Glasner. I think that would be making the same mistake again. They've always had an interest in Glasner, but Glasner's not doing great at the moment, so his stocks are going down, and I think there's a lot of similarities and negatives in Glasner as there is in amorim. That said, Glasner actually does prefer to play a back 4 system. He's not set on his back 5, but the minute you ask Palace to do something with the ball, break a team down, dominate possession, they look like out of ideas. And yes, he's lost Elise, and yes, he's lost Eze. But I don't know, you'd expect more. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching this 10-minute roundup. Bye.